We're dads and you love us, or something like that. But do you really understand us and what we're thinking? Sure, we may be the father of your children, your soulmate, your best friend, but we admit we can also baffle and bewilder you. Today's your chance to find out anything you want from dads. We've got a roundtable here, and you can ask us anything, and we promise we'll answer. This is Parent Savers.
Faster than a speeding toddler.
Sit still for just a minute.
Can soothe boo-boos with a gentle kiss.
Would you get down from there?
Able to clean poopy bottoms in a single swipe.
Oh, what did you eat?
Turning frazzled mommies and daddies into procreators of peace and harmony.
Ah, quit touching me.
It's Parent Savers, empowering new parents everywhere.
Welcome, everybody, to Parent Savers, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. Parent Savers is your weekly online, on-the-go support group for parents from the newborn years through kindergarten. I'm your host, John Ariel. Thanks again to all of our listeners who join us week in and week out. And thanks also to those of you who are listening for the first time. As you may know, you can join our Parent Savers Club and receive access to special bonus content after each new show, plus special giveaways and discounts from time to time. And if you haven't already, please make sure to download the free Parent Savers app, available in the Android and iTunes marketplace and for Windows Phone, so you can automatically have access to all the great parenting advice and conversation we have on Parent Savers every week. Let's start today's conversation by meeting everyone who's joining us in the room. And in addition to our dads, we have some special guests, at least special to me. So my name's Johnner, and I'm a dad of 3 boys. And 2 of them are joining us in the room today. The third one is around somewhere, but I don't know where. But hopefully. Anyway, we have 7-year-old Quinner, who's my oldest. Can you say hi?
Hi.
And 5-year-old Whitaker.
Hi.
And Quinner's here as part of his Cub Scout pack. He's learning about broadcasting and how people distribute media to other people. So we may give them a chance to answer a question real quick after that. But who else here is in the room with us?
My name's Matt Bowler. I'm a journalist. I work at KSWB here in
Nice.
San Diego.
And how old is Cash?
Cash is 2. I'm a father of 1, and I don't think I could handle any more than 1.
He says, looking around at my crazy kids.
Yeah, people who did more than 1 on purpose, I'm a little in awe of.
In awe, that's a nice way to say it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm J.R. Mann. I'm an executive producer for Fox 5 in San Diego, father of 3 adopted children, a sibling group. Got them all overnight. Didn't have to wait 9 months.
Went from 0 to 3.
We went 0 to 3. They opened up a van door and said, go.
Right. How old are they?
9, 10, and 13, going on 45.
All right. Got it. And Josh?
And I'm Josh, and I am the father of a boy named Soren, who's 6 weeks old, and a daughter named McKenna, who is 3 years old. And I'm a quality assurance engineer here in San Diego, and I work for a company called Catapult Technology.
So Josh has a young one, 6 weeks old.
Yes, he's 6 weeks old.
He's right in the middle, so good perspective there. And then Sunny is our token mom.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with all the testosterone you guys in the room. But I'm producing today's show, so I'm filling in for OG Mamacita. I'm a mom of 4 kids. I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about our virtual panelist program. So if you aren't here in San Diego, but you want to participate in our show, you can follow us on Facebook, and you can also join us on Twitter. Follow hashtag ParentSaversVP, which stands for Virtual Panelists. And we'll be posting stuff throughout our recording. If you guys want to ask our dad some questions, I'm on Twitter now, and I'm looking for that hashtag. So another great way to participate in our shows.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Before we start, from time to time on Parent Savers, we look at apps that we recommend for families. And today, we found an app called Baby Bundle. And it's basically a monitoring app, but it does it really slickly, and it offers a little bit more. And there's a lot of apps these days. And even if you think about it, like when Quinner is 7 now, and I don't even know if we had iPhones back then. I don't even think they existed yet, right? So we didn't have all these apps to monitor. But now there's a ton of different choices, and this one's pretty cool. It's free. It lets you monitor, kind of easily time their sleeping, their feeding, their diaper changes, pumping if the mom is using it, so she can time when she's pumping and for how long or when she did it. Also record the measurements. But what's also cool is it has a really easy to access reference book for a parenting guide if you have some questions. And then the other thing that this does that's kind of cool is it's $2.99 extra, but it lets you take another device. So if you have like an iPad, and it lets you use that as your monitor. so that you basically can like set the iPad up in the baby's room or the old phone or something, and then hook it up, and then it's a monitor. So I've had a chance to play around with it a little bit. Have you guys used monitoring apps like this before?
No.
I used a drop cam for a while.
The drop cam.
The drop cam. It's like a Wi-Fi cam.
Yeah.
And you just plug it in, and whatever Wi-Fi signal's there,
Nice.
it goes into, and I guess you go through their secure server. It's okay.
Yeah.
I did like that you could talk to them while you were watching.
Oh, that is
them.
cool.
Oh,
for
that's
sure.
awesome.
So if you saw them doing something they weren't supposed to, you could actually yell at them. And all that did was
I kind of like that.
it
Probably
just
freak 'em out.
Scared the hell out of my wife.
That is kind of scary. So,
Where's that voice coming from?
I would use it for more than kids.
yeah, right.
but for Baby Bundle, we'll put a link to it on the website. Definitely worth checking out. You can track exercises, crying and responding. It's got tips for safety proofing. It really is kind of like, they don't have instructional manuals for kids, but if you were having a baby, this would give you a lot of like great information. So definitely check it out. It's free. It's on the App Store. I think it's available for iTunes, for iPhone, and also Android. Welcome, everybody, to today's show of Parent Savers. We are doing Ask a Dad Anything. We put this out on Facebook as well, and so some of them were kind of funny. But when it comes to like poopy diapers, what do you guys think about poopy diapers? Because one of the comments we got was like, do you really not smell when the diaper's poopy, or are you just trying to get us to change it? Who that came from? Stacy, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always change it when I know.
I'm totally like that too.
I've never understood that. What I do is I sleep through the night. I'll sleep through them crying, but I won't.
Right.
I just sleep right through it. But I don't have a problem changing.
But it's not voluntary, is it?
No.
It's not like, oh, kids, I'm gonna act like I'm asleep.
No.
so.
I don't hear it. When I'm
The
asleep,
thing
but
that I heard about the poopy diaper that I think kind of, I always step up to it too, but I have heard some dads like wear it as a badge of honor, like that, I'm not changing a diaper, and it really,
I don't get it.
doesn't sit well with me at all. But that like, these kids can't do it themselves, and it's a pleasure for me to take care of my kids to get them clean, and it's something they can't do.
Yeah, for me, for my own part, my own family, I'm actually an evangelist for poopy diapers. Like I love changing them just because for my kids, I'm so over. I don't know. I wouldn't say overbearing, but I'm always very attentive to my children, and so I'm, if they're fussy, I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Are they hot? Okay, they're not hot. Are they, are they hungry? No. Yeah. Okay, well, it's got to be the diaper. Check out the diaper. And what's great about diapers nowadays that they didn't have when I was a kid, is they have the little line on it that turns blue if it's wet. It's amazing. And so I just pull down the pants and say, oh, look, you got, you need to get changed, or And so I'm not afraid of the poopy diaper personally. So,
yeah, I'm not afraid of it.
I don't understand why you would make it like a thing. It seems weird to make it like a
saw like
thing.
a funny video
Like,
once.
oh, this is something my wife takes care of, and then
Right.
that's just weird.
Yeah.
I think this is.
I agree with that too. I think that, and I'm not defending it, but there's some guys that prescribe to very clearly defined roles, and I think that one of the
I change a diaper in the most macho way possible, and when I do it, it's very.
What do you
manly.
use? You have a
Well, I've got to put them on a Harley and
smoke a cigar.
smoke a cigar,
pack of Marlboro come out.
Uh-huh.
All right,
Let's get this done, kid.
Hold my dip cup.
I had the distinct advantage of only having. I have 3, and we only had to change diapers on one of the kids.
Nice.
So when I hear parents talk about it, I kind of go, "That's too bad."
Got to skip that whole phase.
That's too bad.
I don't even know if you guys want to hear it, but my son actually has colitis, so he's actually allergic to milk protein, and so he developed a really horrible rash, on his. To take the diaper change one step further, and not try to get too graphic here, but because of the diaper rash. In order to alleviate that, we would actually have to wash him every single time. So it was like, every time he would go, we'd be like, all right, run to the bathroom, and rinse him off really quickly, because the longer it stayed on there, it would get more and more raw.
But you just go to the shower every time.
Yeah,
basically, let's just do a shower.
Yeah, yeah. let's just say that.
All right. All right, Sonny, you got any more over there?
Okay, so Christine Stewart Fitzgerald, who is the host of our show Twin Talks, actually says, my question for new dads, what do you think your responsibility will be to care for your newborn, comparing it to the mom's expectations?
Not enough.
Good
compared
answer.
to the expectations. You know, I think that is one of those things that I do. Some dads I do think, like, talking about poopy diapers again, are like, I will take care of all the diapers.
But it's different, right? So if I'm at work all day, I obviously can't go be at home and help take care of the kid in the same way that she can. And I think mothers are a lot more in tune with their kids than fathers are. So she'll hear him crying, or she'll hear, and I just don't even hear it.
Yeah.
And she's up and off and dealing with something I didn't even know was a problem yet. And apparently, so I think mothers are a lot more in tune with that stuff than fathers are. So
I think we're different too. For us, it was a learning process. Like, I mean, I guess you take childbirth classes and you're like, oh, here's how it's going to be. But until you kind of get into it, you don't realize it. And I know for us, we realized that, like, if I had to wake up in that first hour of sleep, like, it wrecked me. Like, for whatever was happening with my sleep pattern, like, once I fell asleep, like, I needed to sleep like at least like an hour solid. So if I ever had to wake up at like really shortly after, it would just destroy me for the rest of the night. That said, I could wake up at 2 a.m. and walk around with him for like 2 hours and I could be fine the next day. And Christina couldn't do that. So like we kind of found, I think, what worked for us.
For me and my wife, the one thing that was kind of agreed upon, which I didn't really like personally, I'll just say it, because my wife is very considerate of the fact that I work all day, and and she's a full-time student and stay-at-home mom, so she's at home all day with the kids or she's at school, and so because of that, I always want to help take some of the burden off of her, because I know how hard it is to have to deal with the kids all day long. But her being considerate of the fact that I'm at work all day and then I come home and I'm a full-time dad, she tries to say, no, just go ahead and go to sleep. I'll take the kids all night. Right. But then, I hear my son, or even back when we had my daughter when she was newborn, I hear them wake up crying, and we co-sleep, with our kids. And so it was like, okay, she's like, just go out on the couch and just pass out. And I'm like, all right, fine. But then I would hear him wake up at 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I'm just like, I'm up anyway. And I'm like, do you need help? I'll make you a bottle, whatever. Right. Anyways,
it's hard. That like was you could plan for it to be like that, but in practice, that's what really works.
Yeah. There's a certain kind of like, oh, this is how I want to do it, but then there's the reality of doing it, right? And I think mothers are a lot more important when kids are younger than fathers. I just think they are. Yeah. I mean,
well, the whole breastfeeding thing makes sense.
Yeah, they matter more, right? Yeah,
right. Exactly.
If they're, they just do. But as the kids get older, I think the fathers start to play a much bigger role.
And it's sort of like in the hospital too. You feel like I'm like the pit crew, I'm the support staff, whatever you need, but not about me.
When you're an adoptive parent, so nothing that you're saying makes any sense. So I like we have friends that obviously have newborns, but we adopted foster kids, so it's a hell of a lot different than getting an infant in as an adoption, whatever the process is. But we never had that experience. The only experience we had was all hands on deck, so I can imagine that's probably what it's like. So for us, it's like when you adopt kids out of foster care, your house is actually quiet when they come in because they're scared out of their minds. They're just scared out of them. They don't know what's happening. Yeah. So for us, it was like the first couple months is, why is everybody so quiet? And then you figure it out, oh my gosh, they are absolutely terrified. Right. But kids still want to eat. Kids still want to have some kind of attention. They still want to play in some capacity. So for us, it was like all hands on deck, like just hyper vigilant to the cause.
Yeah, and just trying to be totally engaged.
Yeah, and you have to be
constantly.
Yeah.
And when you're not an adoptive parent, I guess there is that easing in period, like for the dad, to some extent. I mean, it's a shock to the system, but as the baby grows from a sack of potatoes to being interactive, it takes
you don't have like have like a pupa there, right? And you got like this totally helpless thing that you can leave in the middle of the floor, and he didn't do much. Exactly. Just kind of sat there, But when you've got a preteen, almost. Yeah, it's a whole different situation.
Yeah, it's a totally different package.
All right, so this is a Father's Day episode, and this one came from my wife, and because she really wants to know, what do you really want to do on Father's Day? Like, what's an ideal Father's Day for a dad?
We talked about Skulkins, didn't we, earlier?
Skulkins, that's right. That's right.
I mean, Mother's Day, I watch Die, and I'm always my wife, and it's just a whole different ballgame, man, because I really do believe, like, even though she's not going to go, do something for me, she's saying, do something for me. Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
For me, absolutely. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's like, you know what, man, I could probably be left alone today.
Right? So that's the thing, right? Like, I legitimately want nothing. Like,
That's the present.
right. I guess
Nothing.
that's the present. Nothing. But you know what's hard is like, and if you look at it from even your wife's perspective, right, where she says, "Oh, I don't want anything on Mother's Day," but like, what'd you do for Mother's Day?
Well, you better do something, right?
Right. But like, you better do something. So she and your kids are going to take a little bit of pleasure in doing something for you for Father's Day. So you've got to find this line of,
Without a doubt.
seriously, don't worry about me. It will make me so much happier if you didn't worry about me, versus letting them have something to do for you. So I try to come up with like low-key ideas.
Like, let's watch TV all day. Yeah.
That's right.
And that's exactly what mine would be. You know, if I were to have my ideal situation, I would probably just say, "Can I, let me sleep in for one,
Yep.
and then let me wake up and just drink my coffee at my desk without being interrupted,
Right.
And then, let me sit on my computer probably for 18 hours,
Yeah.
and I'll see you tomorrow."
We just watch something on Netflix that just has no redeeming quality for any reason.
Dudes, I think we're just so low. Well, I don't know about you guys, but it's just it's a low maintenance deal.
Yeah.
The whole idea of checking out on any one given day appeals to me when you do what you do as a dad. It just checking out is a great time, man. It is a great time.
Well, I guess that's kind of like the trick with work to some extent, and my wife works too, and so like we talk about it, but in a way work can be like this escape from all the responsibilities of parenthood in a weird way, and then you can
Not my job.
re-enter.
Josh and I were talking about it before we came in here.
Yeah.
Before you have kids, it's like, oh man, I gotta go to work. When you have kids, I can't wait to get to work.
Right.
Although sometimes it feels like a lot of times if you're like, because I'm more of in like this middle management kind of thing,
Yeah.
where it feels like a lot of that parenting stuff carries.
So
over
you're parenting
sometimes.
people at work.
It does feel like that a lot of times. Yeah.
Right, but they're not sleeping next to you and kicking you in the gut, like, or maybe I don't know what happens at your work, but
No, there's something to be said as a manager between the people you manage and the people that you manage at home. About the same speed.
Yeah, no, it's true. I agree.
You're the expert.
All right, here's another one that we got off Facebook. Do you really not see the same mess that I see in the house? And my wife and I talk about this.
This should be for my wife, not for me.
Right, that like we see things differently. Like her scale of like, oh my god, the house needs to be picked up so bad, and like, what are you
Yeah, our
talking
scale.
about? Like, it's fine. Like, we legitimately have different scales of like.
Yeah,
what
mine's
needs to
the
happen.
opposite. I'm the one.
are you?
I'm absolutely. I have it every day. Every day when I come home, I just go, "My God, what happened to the house? Look at the house. It's some complete mess. Looks like a tornado."
But if you were at work all day and she was at home, like, you can't really say it. Like,
no. No, but I do. I mean, I have a habit. I mean, I'm not OCD about it, but when I get home and I'm like, I've been busy all day long, I just want to come home and make sure that, I don't have to worry about, making sure that everything else is in order before I go to sleep. But I do. That's how
Right.
I am. That's how I operate. I can't.
Order's good,
I
right?
can't sit down. Yeah, I can't sit down and watch TV or enjoy my kids unless I know all their toys are picked up out of the living room and it's not like a complete nightmare and that there's not dishes everywhere and food all over the table and all in the walls. So I just come home. I make sure I clean everything.
Yeah.
And then I get comfortable.
yeah.
I watched this interesting show, and it was this documentary. It was talking about how men and women literally see differently. Women have better peripheral vision, and so they pick up on a lot more of everything that's going on, whereas men typically, and this is a typical thing, not a this is a generalization, but
Sure.
whereas men tend to look at what they're looking at in general all the time. And this show was about how do men check out women more than women check out men, kind of thing. And the truth is that no, we both check each other out. It's just women have better peripheral vision, so you don't notice them that much.
They check out more.
They have more. They do. They literally have more peripheral vision, and they don't need to like move their
Interesting.
focus as much, and so they don't need to be as obvious because they can.
So they're better at it.
They're better at it. but in reality, women tend to see more, and this
Right.
is the excuse I tell my wife. You just notice it more than I do, whereas I'm noticing the one thing that I'm working on, and
That's a damn good excuse, by the way.
it's grounded in science.
That's right.
And I hyper focus on whatever it is I'm focusing on,
Well-
and I'll get to a mess, right, and I'll see that mess, and I'll deal with that. But then there's all this other
Yeah.
crap all over the place.
And
too
then
that
you
I
get to
miss.
scientifically pick up the rest of the house.
That's how
as well.
I. That's no. I'll systematically.
Yeah, once
break
he
down
gets
the
done
house.
with that, hey, I saw this show, it still comes down to vacuum the place.
Exactly.
Do you do that every time though?
I try.
Hey, look, man, I'm not picking up because you see more.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some more questions, including I want to talk about the impact that our dads had on the way that we are dads. Be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Parent Savers. Today we're talking about dads, and you can ask us anything and just some questions about being a dad. So we're going to get to some advice a little bit later. I know we got some of that came through on the website, but are there things that like you either consciously or unconsciously do because of how your dad did them, or do because it's not how your dad did them? Like, you know, I think that dads can, like how we were parented can have an effect. For me, my dad traveled a lot. I remember when I think back to what do I think about my dad? He traveled a lot. He wasn't around a lot. He'd be around on the weekends, but he was always traveling. And I am a pretty hands-on dad with my boys, and we do like a lot of things together. And it's not a conscious choice that I made that, I really want to be around my kids all the time. But I feel like that there's somewhere in my subconscious, it's really important for me to be there just because my dad wasn't around a lot. Have you guys thought about that?
Yeah, that's exactly probably the key thing for me about being a dad is wanting to be present in my children's life, and not just sort of there, but like there, like being the dad, you know, like I envy people who have a relationship with their father that, you know, that they're like, you know, like a father-son relationship or a father-daughter relationship.
Right.
And so I want that for my children, because my dad wasn't there very as much either. And I want to be that source of that they go to, you know, for advice and things like that. So, yeah. So I agree.
Like I see those memes sometimes that are like the kids will be like, "Where's my blanket? I need to go to the bathroom." To mommy, and then like they only ask dad like, "Where's mom?" So like they can ask questions. But I don't. But I want to be the one that they're asking those questions to.
Yeah,
and so when I see those, I'm like, "Oh, come on!" Like we could be dads and get asked those questions. And
my dad was always present in my life. Yeah. He's still around. We don't talk. For me, it was accepting the kind of like man that he is. Right. There's a point in your life where you have to realize, this guy's a human being. Right. And that happened when I was a teenager. And I think it usually does, and that's when you kind of push those boundaries. But he was always around when I was a little kid, even then. And for me, it was, and even he said this to me. He said, well, he's like, you probably know where I screwed up, so just try not to do that. You know, my father's a very gruff, kind of aggressive guy.
Yeah.
And so for him, there were a lot of things. He's like, well, maybe you don't need to be as aggressive as I was. You know, he was very strict with certain things. Particularly with me, and my older sister.
Sure.
But then do you try to not be strict because of that? Or do you try to say,
I'm trying not to be as dogmatic in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
It's for me. It's because to play off of your point. My dad was he wasn't a very strict dad, but I was raised in a 100% Irish household. Diane raised in a 100% Sicilian household. So discipline was a huge walk of everyday life. Right. So we are very strict parents. You ask my kids would probably say, yeah, they're probably pretty strict. You ask their friends, they'd probably say, yeah, Mr. Mann's a strict dad. But I don't necessarily take it from my dad, because my dad growing up was like your dad. He was never around, so when he was around, it was usually sleeping, yell, then traveling. So I guess the one thing that I do frame up is that sense of who we are as far as how we raised in those households, that Irish tradition that comes, the Sicilian tradition that comes. I have a white kid, I have a Mexican white kid, and I have a black white kid. So they have this crazy tapestry. And for us, bringing my dad into the family means that, like, you know, we have the joke that they're all Irish. So it's really the envelopment of, like, what my household was like as a kid, those traditions, and then the discipline that comes out of those things. So I guess I don't necessarily parent like my dad. Like, now that you said that, I don't think I parent like him at all. That's really crazy. But I do give them the sense of how we grew up. And how we grew up was very, very old.
Well, my dad not being very present in my life, he always came at me more as a friend, not a dad.
Yeah.
And he's still to this day more of a friend than a dad. And so I want to be a dad, you know what I mean? And he wasn't very easy to talk to, and he still isn't. It's like talking to a wall. Even if I have questions or criticize, if I'm critical of him, you know, he gets defensive.
No, I feel you, because like
yeah.
the best time I have with my father is when we're out riding our motorcycles, and it's because we can't talk.
We can't talk to each other, right? Yeah. And you know, and
Great times.
Great time.
so
Spent a lot of time with you.
I try to not be that way with my kids. I try to be super open and just talk to them and educate them and tell them why things are happening, and not just be like, because I told you so. You know, I actually reason with them. And, you know, to the point, I'd laugh and I joke. I say, I feel like Rick Moranis in Parenthood, you know, with his kid when he's like over, I don't know if you remember the movie, but he's like, you know, trying to overeducate his children to the point where they're like, dude, they're just kids. Let them be kids. You know?
leave below.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, I like a lot of the stuff. I mean, there was things that I liked growing up. You know, we always ate dinner at 6:30, and the table was set properly, and you did not sit there and chew with your mouth open. You didn't, you know, it was, you know, those kinds of things I think are good to carry through, and that was something. And they're important, and that was something that
Did you like it at the time?
Well, I do the same thing.
You know, but what I thought at the time was irrelevant because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And my opinion doesn't matter, and it didn't matter at that time.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, we have friends where the kids run the household, and then we have a household where the parents run the household. Right. And so I totally agree. Like there's that line in my household, like you don't eat until the parents are sitting.
So another interesting thing though is you have this dad persona, right? If we're the regulators and you don't eat till I say I eat, and my kids probably have more say in our household than you do, or that you guys might be comfortable with. But what about? I feel like that persona needs to carry beyond just your house sometimes. Like, you know, I think about like being at Legoland, right? And you see kids like climbing on the roofs and like doing crazy things. And if you're the only kind of grown up around, they kind of look at you with like, oh, there's a grown up right there, and not saying anything. And I think you need to carry the dad persona. Obviously not like discipline that kid overly, but you need to say something.
It's trying to balance how you parent your children with the way you see other people parent their children, and trying to not cross that line. You know what I mean? Because when I sent my daughter's in preschool right now, and when it's so difficult for me to raise my child to be kind and not hit or bite or be mean to other kids, and instill these values in her, and then send her off to be around all these other kids who parent their children a certain way, and then she learns from them and their habits, and then she comes home and brings that home with me, or she cries and she's like, so and so hit me, or so and so bit me, and it's like, oh my gosh. And you mentioned, you know, like Legoland and being in the moment of seeing it happen. What do? You know, like I go, I can't yell at this kid. You know, he's not my kid.
Different people have different lines.
You know, Aaron was raised primarily in Mexico, and so in Mexico, if you see a kid doing something wrong, you tell them, and it's perfectly acceptable for any random other person to tell some other kid, that's not yours. Stop it. And that's totally normal. Whereas in the United States,
it's a social issue.
It could turn into a major thing.
A lawsuit.
Yeah, it could turn into a lawsuit. You know, how dare you do that? So there's a certain kind of cross-cultural thing that I think happens. Whereas because of where we live, and Aaron, we tend to have a lot more of that.
We become so sensitive. I'm that dad. I'll admit it right now. I mean, I'm the dad in the neighborhood.
Right, that's the thing. You're a dad. I'm a dad, not just in my house. I'm a dad in the world.
If I see it, like the other day, there were some kids like, you know, lighting some crap on fire or whatever it was down the road, and you know, I'm like, hey man, that's not how that goes. And then if me and the dad or me and the other mom have to have a conversation, we'll bring it on. But I mean, at the end of the day,
I get that. I'm all about that. Look, when we're talking about like danger. You know, I will intervene, you know, but when it's you know,
when you don't like how they're sharing, like that's, you know, you can't really,
but even then, I just take
my child out of the situation and be like, look, my daughter's name is McKenna. I'll say, Mac, let's go, you know, like let's just go play over here, because this kid is being mean.
But then but then you wonder, like we were off playing and there was this one little kid who became aggressive, and it's like, you know, I wonder how he's going to deal with this situation. Because at some point, I'm not going to be there, and he's going to have this aggressive or not sharing kid there, and I'm not going to be able to save him. And he shouldn't learn, you know, running away isn't always a solution. He's got to be able to stand up for himself.
I just think dads have a huge responsibility in community. We have a huge responsibility in community, and I think what that means is if you see something that needs a conversation, I'm not beyond having the conversation, even if it makes people uncomfortable. And you know what? Parenting is uncomfortable.
All right. Well, we are definitely open. I think this was fun, and hopefully we can get another dad roundtable again, together again soon. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Thanks to Matt, JR, Josh. Thanks to Sonny from Man on the Computer. For more information about our show or this specific episode, go to parentsavers.com. We'll continue the conversation after the show for members of our Parent Savers Club. We'll talk a little bit about work-life balance. We touched on it a bit, but we've got a specific topic we want to talk about with there for the bonus content.
Hello, Parent Savers. This is Tony DeLorenzo, co-founder of One Extraordinary Marriage, where we educate, entertain, encourage, and inspire you to have mind-blowing intimacy in your marriage. Today, we are going to talk about the benefits of kissing, so pucker up and get ready. You used to have long, passionate kisses when you first met and were dating each other. As time has passed, you've relegated your kisses to just quick pecks, passionless and uneventful. The ability to have passionate kisses that linger afterwards and lead to nothing more are important in marriage. Kissing often becomes avoided because one spouse only wants the kiss to lead to sex. It's important to have those kisses that simply make your spouse feel valued and important. Kissing releases a trio of chemicals, oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine, in your brain. These contribute to the feeling of well-being, the feeling of attachment, and produces a calming effect. Think about what happens to you when you get a kiss from your spouse that is wow. We hear a lot about the benefits of working out for our bodies, and yet, what about your face? Engaging in passionate kisses with your spouse uses up to 34 facial muscles. Tighter cheeks, anyone? Passionate kisses lead to feeling appreciated and increased self-esteem. Both are critical in your marriage and vitally important to knowing that your spouse cherishes you. Unlike non-sexual physical connection mentioned above, kissing can be a fantastic way to enhance the arousal during sex. When your lips are locked together, you have a connection that binds the two of you. You now know the benefits of kissing and the importance it has on your marriage. It's time to find as many opportunities as you can to kiss your spouse so both of you can enjoy the benefits of kissing. Make sure to check out our best-selling book, 7 Days of Sex Challenge, at oneextraordinarymarriage.com/7days. Enter promo code PARENTSAVERS at checkout and save 20% off your entire order. Thanks for listening to the Sex Talk, and be sure to listen to Parent Savers for more great parenting tips in the future.
That wraps up today's episode of Parent Savers. We appreciate you listening. Don't forget to check out our sister show, Preggy Pals, for expecting parents, the Boob Group for moms who breastfeed their babies, and Twin Talks for parents of multiples. This is Parent Savers, empowering new parents. Happy Father's Day.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
New Mommy Media is expanding our lineup of shows for new and expecting parents. If you have an idea for a new series, or if you're a business or organization interested in joining our network of shows through a co-branded podcast, visit newmommymedia.com. Hey mamas, don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording, so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.